Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone is well and happy. Today we're going to be doing double-digit long division. It's going to be part and parcel of your test. I'm going to show you also within this presentation what to look for when you're going to do your what you should actually concentrate on for your assessment. So yesterday what we did was multiplication. We went over multiplication. We saw the importance of place value. We also saw how multiplication and the whole thing of the repeated addition plays a role. Today now we're looking at division, and what we're looking for is to say what's the best, with division. It's always to say what is the best situations that ask for division. Also, we need to also ask to say that has it the system, how does it work? How does dividing, multiplying, subtracting, bringing down work? Because in division that you've got the shorter method and then you've got the longer method, and the longer method is for really big numbers. So having that in mind, having that at the back of our heads, we now come to a point whereby we ask ourselves a question of saying that the question of saying it has like having that in mind that it works with bigger numbers. We start asking ourselves a question of saying how big of the numbers are we going to be using it on, because there are different types of division, but that will be covered. Let us start. Oh, one more thing, guys. Here is my Twitter handle and here is my email address. Here is my Twitter handle and here is my email address. Please do contact me. Please, 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 please do contact me. Here's my email address and there's my Twitter handle. Please do contact me if you find yourself in hot water, or you find yourself to say that you're failing to understand, or you're finding yourself not truly getting the full picture. Please do contact me. Right. So I'm looking at double-digit long division with or without remainders. Right. So here are the topics for your test. I'll give you guys 2 minutes now to write them down, and then if there are any questions now, I'll welcome a round of questions if there are any questions. So in regard to your test, here are the test topics. If there are any questions, I'll welcome a round of questions. I'm open the round of questions in relation to the test to say that what questions can you have in relation to the test? Right. Morning.
Morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm well. What questions do you have?
Sir, when will we be writing this test?
So you're writing it from next week, Monday.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for your question.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm fantastic.
My Well, it's not really much of a question. It's just I don't have a math textbook at my house. My school has it.
Uh-huh.
So,
Do not worry about that. I will prepare you long in time for you to be able to, for us to cover everything.
okay, so.
Yes. So by the time it's time to write, all of you guys will be fine. That is my solemn promise to you. So you have 1 minute left to write down the topics for the test. For the tests that we're going to write. You have 1 minute left. 1 minute left. Twenty seconds. You have 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoever's done, please tell me in the chat if you're done. Right. Awesome. Right. Awesome. 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 Good. Next slide. So we're looking at long division in general. And looking at long division, there are a few things that you need to know. You need to know your divisor, you need to know your dividend, and you need to know your quotient. And at times, you need to also remember that there's chances where you can meet a remainder. So your divisor is a number that you're using to divide the dividend, this thing. Right, you have a divisor, a dividend, and a quotient. So the divisor is the one that's being used to divide the dividend. And the quotient is the result of the division. What is the answer of the division? The remainder shows that since the number was not completely divisible, meaning that it was not a number of, or it was not a number of that particular, how can I put this? It is not a number of the how can I put this? The multiples, or it does not form part of that. Then the remainder tells you to say that the multiple there is the 7 enters there 68 times, but because there's a leftover of 3, that makes me 479. So what happens is you always do the steps: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. It's a repetitive process. It is a repetitive process. You divide, you multiply, you subtract, you bring down. You divide, you multiply, you subtract, you bring down. So that's what you do, right? Let me move on to the next slide. So when you speak about division, we're talking about the splitting of something into equal groups. When we break something into equal groups, we speak about division. Hence, you find that if it was not completely divisible or dividable by that number, by the divisor, you're going to find that you have a remainder. A remainder says that we could not completely divide this thing, but here is the result of, this is what's left to, this is what's left after the division. That is what constitutes as a remainder. But division is the basic splitting of numbers into equal groups. Let's go over a question. Who's willing to go over this question? Because we've done it for some time. So who's willing to explain what happened here? Who is willing to explain what happened here? How did they do it? How was it done?
So
Alright.
I'm really confused, but I think they did bring down 3 numbers.
So you've not gone through the, okay. You've not
I haven't
gone
done.
Okay, it's fine. Let's just do
I
it.
haven't done this before. Okay.
I'll explain it after one of our colleagues does it. Ne?
Okay.
All right, beautiful.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So first,
Mhm,
when I usually do it, so I first
mhm,
check the first number. If 1 can't go into 12, then you put a dot on top, and
mhm,
then check, can 0 go into 12? I checked no, and then I went on. I bring down the next number. 12 can go into 12, so that's 1. It goes in there 1 times. You put the 1
mhm.
on top, and then 12 minus 12 equals 0. Then you bring down your 5, and then 5 doesn't go into 12, so it's minus 0. Then you put your 0 on top.
So this one, yeah, comes from,
Yes.
right? Go on.
And then you minus it. It's still
Mhm,
5. Then we bring down our 4 down. And then the nearest number to 12, the nearest number that in 12 that's close to 54 is 48. Then I
mhm,
minus that. And then that goes in there usually 4 times. And then I minused it, and then I got 6. And then I bring down my 9, and then the closest number to 69, 12 times table, is 60.
mhm. Yes.
And 60 usually goes in 5 times. And then
Uh-huh.
I minus I minus my answers. I
Mhm.
minus 69 from 60, and I had a remaining 9.
Beautiful, beautiful explanation. Let me go through it for people who have not been here. So what we're doing is that we are just following a process of dividing, multiplying, bringing down. First things first, you see that you have 12 and 12 must divide 12,549. So ideally is that 12 does not divide anything that's below a 2-digit or a 3-digit number that is not more than it. Right. Then you say 12 into 12 goes sometimes once. Right? 1 times 12 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Bring down the 5. 12 into 5 goes what? 0 times. Why do we put a 0? This situation here after bring down shows that there must be a 0. A 0 appears somewhere in the equation, in the sum, where we don't know, but there is a 0. Then we say that 0 times 12 is 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. Bring down the 4. Then we say 12 into 12 into 54. Doesn't go there, but does go to 48. And then you say 54 minus 48 is equal to what we'd call 6. Bring down the 9. You say 12 into 69 goes 5 times. Then say 5 times 12 is 60. 69 minus 69 goes, then remainder 9 is what's left. So the answer is 1045 to remainder 9. It's very important that you understand that always is divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. It's a repetitive process. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So please write down this example. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to do it. Right, so you have 2 minutes, you have a minute and something to write down the answer. Remember, I said also try to use technology as much as possible so that you can get your things done. So what we're going to do today's lesson is that you guys are going to try most of the examples. So I'm going to give you an example, then you guys are going to try it, and then we're going to do the correction. I give you another example, you guys try it, and then we're going to do the correction. So we can see how far are we? Are we getting there? Is the picture being painted clear? Is the picture being painted clear? So yes, it's important. Are we getting a clearer picture? Are we finding the picture that we're supposed to be searching for? Right? You have a minute left. You have 1 minute left. Uh, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll allow for another 10 seconds to round off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time up. Time up. Time up. All right. Here is the first one I want you to try. I'm going to give you the benefit of 3 minutes to try it. And then after that, we do corrections. Your 3 minutes have started. Try this. Let's see how many sums can we go through. Let's try as many as possible. You have 3 minutes to do it. So 3 minutes to try this sum, 3 minutes to get an answer. And then one of you is going to explain to me what did we do to get the answer. And then we move on from that. Always remember that you are searching for a multiple. What you subtract, most of the time you're subtracting a multiple of your divisor. So if you are 12, your multiple of your divisor here would be 24. It'd be 24. In this whole process, you only subtract multiples of the divisor. That's how it works. About 1 minute left. About a minute left. 1 minute left. 1 minute left. One minute left. 1 minute left. Who is available to explain to us how did they get the answer? Who is available to explain to us how did they get the answer? Who is with us to explain to us how did they get the answer? Who is willing to explain to us how did they get the answer? 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is there anyone still writing? Is there anyone still writing? Give me notification so I can give you maybe 2 more minutes. Is there anyone still writing? Anybody at all? Is there anyone still writing? Is there anyone still writing? Right, I'm going to give you guys, because I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, I'll give you guys another 2 minutes. Write as quick as possible. Try, guys. And if you're done, check your answer. Check your answer. What is important here is not just doing the sum. What is important here above all, above and beyond, is that you must be able to work it out and see that your answer makes sense, and each and every time you have subtracted a multiple. That's how long division works. And you follow the procedure. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So follow that procedure to the T. Follow the procedure to the T. Never ever deflect from it. Follow the procedure to the T. One minute. 1 minute left. One minute left. 1 minute left. Who is available, who has not spoken yet, to help us with the answer? Who is available, who has not spoken yet, to help us with the answer? Okay. All right. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay. And you have 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyone available to explain to us what they did? Anyone available to explain to us what they did in the sum, and what answer did they get? Anyone now? Needless to say, you've spoken or not. Anyone who's willing to explain to us what did they do to get the answer in the sum? Going once, going twice. Right, so I'll do it. Right, so we've got 74,332 divided by 12. First things first, you know that if it's a double digit, it's 12. You are not going to divide any number that's below 2 digits or any number that's below 12 itself. Then you start saying 12 into what? 74. You think 12 into 74 must go how many times? 5 times is 60. 6 times is what? 72. 6 times 12 is 72. 74 minus 72 is 2. Bring down the 3. Then we ask, 12 going into 23 goes how many times? Once. 1 times 12 is 12. 23 minus 12 is what? 11. Bring down the 3. Then we said 12 into 113. 113, I don't know, but I know that 9 times it goes to 108. So 9 times 12 gives me 108. 113 minus 108 gives me 5. Bring down the 2. Then 12 into 52 goes how many times? 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. 52 minus 48 is equal to what? 4. So your final answer is 194, remainder 4. 6,194, remainder 4. We keep on. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply. And as you see here, each and every moment we are subtracting. We are subtracting a multiple of 12. All of these things that we subtracted are multiples of 12. We're always searching to see how many times, because we want to get as many times as possible when we're dividing after bringing down, to say as many times as possible for me to help get the answer. Especially like 23. 23 said, okay, it goes once into me. Okay, 1 times 12 is 12. 23 minus 12 is 11. Down the 3, etc., etc. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Are there any clarity-seeking questions before I go to the next one? Because we can try one more. So are there any questions that before I go to the next one? Any questions before I go to the next one? Any questions before I go to the next one? Any questions before I go to the next one? All right. If there are no questions, if no one has a question, it's super easy, guys. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. I hope that those who are here for the first time are understanding as well. You can also just raise your hand so I can speak to say, do you understand? That's why I say, remember, you're always going to be subtracting a multiple. Multiple of 12s are always going to be, or not 12, but the multiple of the divisor. Right, please write this down. I'll give you a minute to write down this answer. I'll give you a minute to write down the answer. And then we'll go into the next sum. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 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 30 seconds. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Can I get notification from a few people who's done writing this example, who has this example and has it correct? Let's go. Anyone? Just because I have one, I just want a few more. All right. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Next question. Next question. I'll give you 3 minutes for this one. 3 minutes exactly for this one. Try it. 51,120 divided by 10. Try. 3, 4 minutes. Try it. Think. Try and get the answer. And then I'm going to look for someone who's going to help us answer it. Anyone to help us just answer it as well and see how did they do and how did they fare. I've got 2 minutes. 2 whole minutes. 2 minutes. Two minutes left. Anyone can just raise their hand who's willing to help us work it out. Anyone can raise their hand to assist us in working this out. 51,120 divided by 10. 1 minute left. 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 Awesome. Awesome. I have someone who's willing to explain to us. That is great. 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 40 seconds. 40 seconds. 40 seconds. 40 full seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. All right. Hello?
Sir, can you hear me,
How
sir?
are you? Yes, I can.
Okay, sir.
What is your answer?
So my teachers used to tell me that the rule of if you use 10 in a division sum, you always have to have a zero at the end of your answer if it's equal, if there's no remainders. And
All
in a
right.
and if there is a zero, you just take it away. So first, what
Yes.
I do is 5 can't go into 10. So
Mm-hmm.
then I put it, so I minus it by 0. Then
Mm-hmm.
I bring down the 1,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got 51. And then 50 is the nearest one to 51 in the 10 times table. So then I put
Mm-hmm.
after 5 because 50 is 5 equals to 5 in the 10 times table. And then
Mm-hmm.
I minus it. And then 51 minus 50 equals to
Mm-hmm.
1. Then I bring down a 1. And then I minus it
Right.
by 10. And then I minus it by 10. Then I put F my 1
Mm-hmm.
there.
Uh-huh.
And then I minus that. It equals to 1. 11 minus
Mm-hmm.
10 equals to 1. Then I
Mm-hmm.
bring down my 2. Then I got
Mm-hmm.
12. 12, the
Mm-hmm.
nearest number to 12 in the 10 times table is 10. So then I put
Mm-hmm.
up my 1. And then I minus this. And then
Mm-hmm.
it equal to 2. And then I bring down my 0. And then
Uh-huh.
20. The nearest number to 20 in the 10 times table is 20. And then I
Uh-huh.
put up my 2. It goes into the
Mm-hmm.
in 10 twice. So I put up 2. And
Uh-huh.
then 20 minus 20 equals 0. So there's no remainders.
Yes. Beautiful. So if you find that your number has 1 0 behind it and we're dividing by 10, your answer, you're just going to write it. It's just like this, the answer without a 0. But let me explain it for people who are lost. But that was a beautiful explanation. So we're dividing, we are multiplying, we are subtracting, we're bringing down. Question is, it's a double digit, so it's 10. 10 cannot divide anything below it, and it cannot divide a number that is not a double digit or more. 10 just going to 51 how many times? 5 times. Why? For 5 times 10 gives me 50. 51 minus 50 gives me 1. Bring down the 1. Then I said, how many times are 10 going to 11? 1 time. 1 times 10 is 10. 11 minus 10 is 1. Bring down the 2. How many times does 10 go into 12? Once. 1 times 10 is 1 times 10 is 10. 12 minus 10 is what? 2. Bring down the 0. How many times does 10 go into 20? 2 times. 2 times 10 is 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. That's how you get the answer. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And always remember that you are subtracting multiples of your divisor. You are subtracting multiples of your divisor. You are subtracting multiples of your divisor. You are working with multiples of the divisor. I'll give you 1 minute to write down the answer. 1 minute to write down the answer. Since our time is coming to an end, I would like to open for a question and answer session after you guys quickly write this down. So always remember that you are subtracting, you are subtracting multiples of your divisor always. When you're subtracting something, you're subtracting a multiple. What is a multiple? When you count in tens, these numbers that you meet when you count in tens. When you keep on adding tens, remember multiplication is like repeated addition. So when you keep on adding tens, the numbers you meet, these are what we call the multiples of 10. 5 is the fifth multiple of 10. 20 is the second multiple of 10. Because it's 10, 20, 30. Yes, so you're always going to be subtracting those numbers. Always, 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 always. Since I see you guys are done. Right, here's the homework. Are there any questions? Because now we are closing the case of division for now. Are there any questions? Any questions? Please send your answers to the following email address. I'll put it in the chat. The email address you guys saw earlier on, please send it to that email address. Gmail. Are there any questions? Any questions? If you are done, I get a chance to show my email one more time. Right. Good, I have a question. Hello.
I didn't see the email address.
I put it in the chat. But let me go to it. I hope you guys are done writing down your homework. Please tell me if you are done writing down your homework. I hope you guys are done writing down the homework. Let me just pop up my email address. Here's my email address. There you go. That is my email address. I also showed it in the chat. I put it in the chat, but there is my email address. There is my email address. If there are no questions besides that, guys, then I will have to disappear. But if there are no questions besides that, guys, I'll have to disappear. I love you guys. You're awesome. Thank you for listening. It was a very simple lesson. It shows that we've gone over this over and over and over again. Okay, let me go back because I see there's a request for me to go back. Let me go back as quick as possible. There is the homework. You have, I think you've got a minute. Yeah. I showed my email address. I went back now because you've got 1 minute left. But I've shown my email address, 2 minutes. Here is my email address. I've put it in the chat as well as please. When you're on YouTube, you'll just pause and then get my email address. But here you go. Here's the